All
right, my personal story. So I was actually overweight as a child and all the way into my adult life. In high school, I was obese at 340 pounds. I had a very sedentary lifestyle, which means I was completely inactive. I watched TV. I ate all the wrong things: pizza, subs, french fries, but I did it in excess. So the weight just kept coming on, coming on. My mother was a single mother. She worked full time. She was a professional. And so she did prepare meals, but we also ate out a lot. It's just it's a classic example of, a single family home and just trying to provide the best environment possible for your children. And maybe not even realizing that it's actually harming them, the food that they might be intaking, or just going to the McDonald's or the fast food rather than sitting down and preparing a fresh meal. And so when I was 21, I was actually diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. And at the time of diagnosis, my kidney function was at 40%. So I had been sick for a very long time, not even realizing that my kidneys were failing. At 22, I actually had the gastric bypass surgery under direction of my nephrologist, who said that, hey, you need to get this weight off. You have, your body is just under extreme pressure. And I'm not saying it's going to help improve your kidneys, but it is going to help improve your quality of life. And so when he, really broke it down to me that by the time I'm 23, I would be on a dialysis, it was life-hitting. It was life-changing. Like, I was like, wow. And so I went ahead and had the gastric bypass. But what I always like to stress is that it's not a miracle operation. If you shouldn't want to opt for any operation at all, the best way to do it is the most natural way. But I was in a unique situation where I was actually battling for my life, and that I needed to get this weight off. But what it did was force me to re-educate myself. Now, I had to go through very drastic steps to get to the point where I am now, but it was necessary. I had to read food labels, and that was when my eyes were open to, organic versus all this process, where I would read the labels and see words that I couldn't pronounce, and number 40, red dye number 40, and yellow 40, and then I look at this other box, and it was simple as that: organic wheat flour, sea salt, and then that was that. And I said, wow, this is interesting that, I understand everything that I see over here. I have no idea what all this stuff is, and I know what tomatoes are, and I know what wheat flour is. And I said, this might be a better choice for me than mono blah blah blah. And so I also started to exercise. I realized that not only did I have to change my food intake and change what I was eating, but I had to incorporate exercise, daily physical activity. And I started to feel better. My body was operating differently when I started to change the foods that I was intaking, and also incorporating physical activity. And when I talk to the children, I like to say good fuel and bad fuel. And so the good fuel is those vegetables, those fruits, good piece of fish, chicken, as opposed to fried, greasy French fries and hamburgers and all those good things. And I think that just over time, it's almost like that fast food is a addiction, like our body starts to get used to the taste of artificial flavors. It starts to get used to all that sugar and that processed stuff, and that's what it starts to crave, because that's what we've been feeding it so long. And so when we start to incorporate organic food, and I remember the first time I tasted it, I was like, man, this tastes different. And it was like, because we didn't realize what real food really tastes like, because we were so used to eating this other stuff. And so anyway, through 6 years, I went through the journey of battling kidney disease for 6 years. And through that time, I was losing weight, I was eating healthy, and I was also managing my health. And really, it was a whole process. And then in December of 2007, I had a kidney transplant where my sister donated her kidney to me. And then after that, during my transplant recovery, I started writing the concept paper for Kidney Care for Youth and Adolescents, a nonprofit organization, to bring about awareness of kidney disease and the risk factors associated, such as obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure for young people. Because I felt go the path that I had to go to, that I had to go through. And it was just something that's where my heart is. Not I don't want children to have to go through their life being so overweight and not wanting to do the things that they truly desired. I didn't like to go to amusement parks because the last time I went, I couldn't fit on the seats and I had to get off of the roller coaster ride. Those are things that I don't want children to have to go through. To have high blood pressure, to not be able to run, to see other people dance and have a good time. But for me, my weight held me back. And once I lost that weight, I had freedom. I went to the amusement park. That was like the top thing on my list. I went to the amusement park, and I remember how I felt when I was able to sit in the seat, when I started to dance, when I started to travel. I always wanted to travel, but because I was so overweight, I couldn't fit in the airplane seats. I had to ask for an extension, and it's that look that people give to you when you walk up and you're 300 plus pounds and you're like, oh, you're about to sit next to me and take up my space. And so I was able to start, seeing the world in a whole different way. And I was just like, I want this for all children. I want them to be healthy children so they can grow up and be healthy adults, and then also, teach their children to be healthy. So what I'm doing is breaking that generational curse. What I'm doing is breaking those traditions of bad eating, of non-activity, that physical activity that families are not doing together. What I'm trying to do is bring about good change in the fact that, hey, let's go out and walk together as a family. Hey, let's cook a meal and sit down at the table together and see what's going on in each other's lives. And the health really can bring a community together. Health can bring a family back together. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing out here, is to help children and to help families all across the nations and maybe the world. Who knows?